episode of Tune Into Wellness Today was brought to you by Mary Lentini, a licensed real estate salesperson with Realty USA. Hello and welcome to Tune Into Wellness Today. My name is Lisa Marie and I am the host of today's show. Today we're going to be taking a look at three main areas. One is somatic experiencing. 2 is occupational therapy, and 3 is neuroplasticity. So hang in, stay tuned in, and meet my fabulous guests, Hal Waite and Jennifer. Today, we're going to meet Hal first. Hal is a clinical psychologist, or has his master's in clinical psychology. He's also a somatic experiencing practitioner, a coach. He has published children's interactive books, as well as published or produced, I should say, TV shows and movies such as Rugrats in Paris. Welcome, Hal.
Thank you, Lisa Marie.
Thank you for being here.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So we're going to talk mostly today about your somatic practice that you have, somatic experiencing practice. But before we do that, you've authored some children's interactive books, and you have published some television shows and movies. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, I've been very fortunate and left for Hollywood years ago in my 20s and had a fair amount of success.
That is wonderful. So I understand that in February you had another huge success around a specific book, correct?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I have a new company called Ever After Tales. And I have 4 books currently out in the marketplace, and I'm very proud of the fact that Little Emily won Best Preschool Book of the Year at the Kids Screen show down in Miami this past February.
Wonderful. Where can people purchase Little Emily from?
Little Emily's available at the iTunes Store and also on Google Play. So if you have an Android device or a Macintosh device, you can download it there.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about Little Emily. What's the high level gist of the story?
Well, Little Emily is an interactive piece of animation narrated by a wonderful actor named Raza Jaffrey, and the story involves a little girl and her father. And the father is an artist, and he paints this beautiful planet that Little Emily and their father Alex live on. And they travel around the galaxy, but there's a neighboring planet who are filled with evil Count Splodge and his splodgelings who are very, very jealous of Little Emily and her planet. So download the book and you'll find out what happens.
I love it. Thank you so much. So, Hal, you're now doing this work with Ever After Tales, as well as working at A Space to Grow in downtown Troy.
Yes.
Beautiful downtown Troy. A somatic experiencing practitioner. What is somatic?
Well, somatic is derived from the Latin word soma, which means the body. So really, somatic and its somatic experiencing is about experiencing your body, understanding what's happening, feeling your sensations.
Okay. And so as a practitioner, how do you work with someone? I understand they can sit in a chair or they can lie on a table.
Correct.
What are you actually doing with that person?
I'm gently guiding their attention to their body, to their physical body. So when somebody comes in my office and starts presenting whatever their issues are or their story, I will stop them at some point early in that conversation because I'll notice maybe a change in their emotional response, and I'll just say, can you tune in and just tell me where you're feeling that right now? And so by bringing the attention into the body, the person is able to tune into an emotional response that maybe they had a year ago when a trauma event occurred or a stressful event occurred, and they're able to experience that and release some of the energy that's held around that.
Okay, so that releasing, when you're treating someone, are you touching them? Are you doing some sort of physical application, or you're just guiding them mentally to tune into their body?
I tend to work more with the mental part of it, where I just simply direct their attention to their physical body, although I have been trained for the touch part of it.
Okay.
But my preference is to sit almost like you and I are sitting, although I might be more directly facing you and probably a little bit closer. And that's how we do it. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're helping them release that energy that's inside of them.
Yeah, so here's what happens. Any discussion about somatic experiencing we need to talk about what is trauma for a moment, if I
Please.
may. Because for many people, they think trauma and they think a major war or a natural disaster, and that's all true. But trauma can also be the little things: arguing at home, difficulty getting along with coworkers, and feeling that stress, and it's repeated day in and day out. So it can come from an invasive medical procedure. I had a client come in who had a near-miss ski accident. He was very, very traumatized by that. So from a variety of sources.
And repeated, I love that you said that about work, an issue at work. It could be repeated anxiety.
Yes.
Anxiety can be trauma for a lot of people, right? So it doesn't have to be something as witnessing a death of someone, but it could be that repeated aspect in which you're pulling it inside. I always called it tucking it down, that energy.
Yes.
And now you're going to help people release that energy out through this process. You work with those with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, I do.
Tell me how they have benefited those that you've worked with. What have you seen the difference between the time they came in and the time they left?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. I've actually worked with several 9/11 survivors, people who were right there at the moment when the planes hit the towers and were very frightened. And see what happens at a time when there's a traumatic event. A tremendous amount of energy gets aroused inside of the body. This is a natural defense mechanism because we want to take care of ourselves. And we all know about fight or flight. So the body knows we can either run away as a way of defending ourselves or we can fight back. Well, when neither one of those things can be completely successful, what happens frequently is we get stuck in the freeze, and that energy that gets aroused, instead of being able to be utilized to defend ourselves, gets stuck. And when it's stuck, then it's stuck in the body somewhere, and that's what I work with in somatic experience.
Now, in going back to post-traumatic stress disorder for one moment, oftentimes people in different types of therapies, and I'm not going to disrespect a therapy, but they have to relive the trauma repeatedly. But with somatic experiencing, they're not reliving that trauma. That storytelling does not have to take place. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right about that. As a matter of fact, that's the one thing I try to avoid. I always stop people because a lot of people come in and they really want to get it off their chest, but what they're doing is, since they haven't released that energy that's stuck in the body, they're just arousing more of it, and it's just getting more embedded. So I always stop the story, and then we just start with the sensation. So as you were beginning to tell me that story, what do you notice and where is that located in your body?
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Now, is there an estimate of time when someone comes to see you, like how many treatments someone might need, an average, I guess is the word I'm looking at, to release that energy to be well again, or does it really depend on whom you're working with?
Well, there are a lot of factors involved. For example, the near-miss ski accident that I mentioned to you, this fellow was helicopter skiing, and somebody came flying over his shoulder on a very steep slope, and he thought he was going to die in that moment. He was not even hit. We had 1 2-hour session, and he was done. But before we had the session, he couldn't sleep, he was restless, he was pacing around the house, he was hyper-aroused. After that, he called me the next day and he said, I slept so well for the first time in a week. That was great. Now, on the other hand, the more difficult situations are when the trauma begins at an early age.
Mm.
I had a young lady in counseling for a number of years who had been chronically sexually abused. So that's a longer term therapy.
Okay, absolutely, would make sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you're helping people now heal from the fight or flight. You're helping them heal and grab that energy out, get the energy out of their body, and have sustainable healing.
Yes.
Right? That's
yes,
a beautiful
it does.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anything's going on particular with your practice right now that you'd want to, any special classes that you're teaching, anything that's coming up in the future?
Well, I'm working at a Space to Grow, which is in downtown Troy, and Buffy Owens is the owner and operator, and she's assembled a great team of people. So we're always brainstorming, and one of the things we have in mind is setting up a somatic experiencing workshop. So we'll to be announced, but anybody that's interested can certainly check our website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for what you are doing. I greatly appreciate it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. If you would like more information about Hal Waite and the work he does, go online to aspacetogrow.org. I hope you did enjoy Hal Waite and what he had to say, and I do really encourage you to reach out to him if you would like to learn more about the services he may offer you. My second guest today is Jennifer Burke from Creative Health Solutions. Jennifer is an occupational therapist and has been for over 30 years. She specializes working with adults and adolescents with chronic health problems, such as chronic pain, fibromyalgia, and chronic fatigue syndrome. Welcome, Jennifer. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you again. So, occupational therapy, yes. It is a great service, great modality to be offering to people. For the audience, would you explain briefly what occupational therapy is as opposed to physical therapy? Most people have heard of physical therapy, yes. But occupational therapy, unless you have an occupational injury, you might not understand that. So tell us what that is.
Well, I think first off, a lot of people confuse occupation with vocation. And vocation is what you do for a living, but your occupation is how you occupy yourself in your life roles. So everyone's occupation might be different, but we all have occupations in the home and activities of daily living that we do. It could be your community and also includes your work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, beautiful. So as an occupational therapist specializing in chronic health problems, one of the aspects that you offer, which I'm really thrilled to hear about, and I'd like you to explain to the audience what it is you work on this chronic health modality process, or is it like acute
Yes.
care? You offer a chronic. So explain the difference between a chronic care and acute care, please.
Yes. Well, I'm fortunate having a private practice to be able to do this. Typically, it's unusual. Occupational therapists typically work in acute medical models, such as a hospital, a therapy provider service. And they're subject to insurance length of service that is allowable, or maybe the practice itself says we have to maintain our statute and look like we can get people in, fix them, and get them out. And that works if you've had a broken arm or a broken hip replacement, something like that, and you can anticipate a certain time of recovery. And so an acute illness, acute injury, deserves acute medical treatment. A chronic injury, chronic illness deserves chronic treatment because it's not going away and it changes. Sometimes new symptoms come up, and there is a whole paradigm surrounding what having a chronic illness does to someone, mm-hmm. and your nervous system and your brain, and living with that. And that requires you to seek out a professional that is specialized in working with people in a long term, and it's specializing in that kind of a service so that they know what the modalities are, better options there are for someone with your particular type of illness.
So I'm going to just close it in for a little bit for the audience. So sometimes under the medical model and based on sometimes insurance standards, people are allowed to have, and I'm going to talk about physical therapy for a second, no more than 3 treatments a week for no more than
it's usually
X amount of weeks.
Also, very often, frequent. You mean 3 times a week. You better come in and then 6 weeks, where if someone can only come in once a month and can come in every month, or if they get to a point where I'm having surgery and I want to lay off right now, come back in 3 months, see how things are going then. But it depends on the goal of the person, and that's between the person that has the illness and the professional, and it's client-centered. It's what is meaningful to that
Right, and that's
person.
what I wanted to explain. I want to make sure people understand that what you are working with and how you work is very client-centered versus a model of
Exactly.
a standard. And we are all, I teach and preach bio-individuality. We all work and heal and understand differently than the next person. So never to put someone in a box. And your practice takes people out of the box or allows
That's right.
them to be out of the box. It's not that you take them and work at their pace at what works for them. And I wanted to make
Exactly.
sure I brought that out to the audience. What are some of the modalities that you use in your practice?
Well, OTs are specifically trained to be able to look at the performance components such as physical, mental, cognitive, social, neurological type of issues that interfere with their daily functioning. And so that really talking about a holistic professional, that's what OTs really are. And what seems to be the most poignant issue with that person at the time. So it may be a hands-on, physical, educational look at how they could self-manage when they have a spasm, a particular spasm. Because we're looking at self-managing in this kind of a model, because between sessions and knowing that it's a chronic illness, you need to learn how to take care of this between sessions and who are the correct people to go to for that. This is a lot of educational. So and rather than coming to me and just having me passively do something, there would be a lot of training so that someone has the tools to be able to do that. And if it's emotional, a mindfulness-based approach, but I use bioelectrics. I use devices such as TENS devices, LED. These are things that can purchase for themselves. They don't have to go to someone and pay for someone to apply it to them so many times a week. If you have these things at home, you know that you can cope. You know that when you get home from the store, you can do this. And it really, when people come to see me, they immediately feel a reduction in anxiety and negative emotions, because now they know something that can help them fall asleep, something they can do, many things that there are bioelectrically, sort of neurofeedback, things that are high tech. I like to do that because we have so much technology available to us today.
Well, and knowledge is powerful in the sense that it does help people when they understand that how to help themselves. You automatically have a stress reduction, right? You know, that fear of the unknown can really be very difficult. So you remove some of that fear. It's beautiful. Jennifer, give me just one more, but you've already given us so many, but give me one or two more benefits of what people have received by working with you specifically.
Well, I think people have given me testimonials that they have called me a health hacker, and I've been able to get down to the bottom of a particular problem that they've had that their doctor couldn't figure out, no one could figure out. Some of that is that I've had multiple chronic illness myself and chronic pain, and within my own research over all these years, I've also experienced many treatments and many types of diagnoses myself. And so I can get them, figure out what it is, get them to a better professional, give them coping mechanisms that have worked for me, also save them money, save them time. It shouldn't take 4 years of someone suffering with something that they don't know. I will figure out what that is, and I'll get them treated.
That is beautiful. Experience is the best education. I'm a total believer of that. So experience is the best education. So you can speak to the point of what they are going through based on your history. So thank you so very much for all you are doing. It's beautiful. If you would like more information about Jennifer Burke and the services she offers, go online to creativehealthsolutions.net. I certainly do hope you enjoyed listening to Jennifer Burke, and I do encourage you to reach out to her with any questions you might have if you are suffering from any chronic health problems. I'm going to speak to you just a little bit about something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change and heal at any time, at any age. This is such a great new understanding about our brain. For so many years, it was believed our brains were pretty static or plastic. It did not have the ability to change, so that someone who's suffering from chronic health problems, or someone who might be on the autistic spectrum or had a stroke, we're pretty much stuck with what the outcomes of those circumstances were. But we have a better understanding now, much to do a lot with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Norman Doidge, who studied neuroplasticity and then has taught neuroplasticity. So how does that work? Well, neuroplasticity is a natural, non-invasive process that helps the brain to shift, to change, to heal, and it's done in the forms or with avenues such as light, movement, energy, sound, as an example. So these simple aspects applied to a person helps the brain's own ability, its own transformative ability to shift and change and heal. This is very important because what it does is it offers hopes to someone who has chronic pain to perhaps alleviate that chronic pain or diminish it. For someone who's on the autistic spectrum, it gives them hope for so many who have been able to now live a normal, healthy life where they were not able to do that before. For someone who suffered a stroke, who could no longer walk or speak, sometimes it gives them the ability to walk and talk again. So really very interesting form of healing that is non-invasive. Also for people who are suffering from Parkinson's disease or cerebral palsy, helps with those symptoms as well. Now, as in all services and modalities, there's never a promise of improvement or healing, but it is so encouraging to know that so many people have been able to have their suffering alleviated, or in many cases heal and live normal, healthy lives. If you would like to understand neuroplasticity more, or you'd like to find a practitioner who specializes in that, I encourage you to reach out to me and I will help guide you. I also recommend that you pick up the book, The Brain's Way of Healing by Norman Doidge, MD, and take a read on that to learn more about it. Or in today's world, you can Google neuroplasticity and learn more. Please understand, you may not be stuck in that chronic place that you are currently in, and that chronic pain and the inability to do things that you might have been able to do in the past. Or if you're on the autistic spectrum, perhaps things can shift and change and you can live a happier and healthier life. I encourage you to do that. I would be remiss if I did not remind you that I am the owner and operator of a company called Inspiring Wellness Solutions, which is a family wellness practice in Round Lake, New York, actually in the town of Clifton Park, but it is 2023 Route 9 Round Lake. People that come to see me in my wellness practice have transformed their lives. It is a transformative program that I offer, and there are transformative and healing services provided. So many people receive many different aspects depending on what they come to me for. But many have said to me repeatedly, Lisa Marie, I never thought your program was this. I never thought it would totally transform my life. I never thought I could be this healthy or this happy. So some of the benefits that people are receiving, and there's a myriad of them, but some of them are more energy, better attitude, better aptitude, better relationships with their spouses or partners, loss of weight, healing from the inside out. So those emotional wounds that they've been carrying around for so long are being healed, sometimes not even recognizing. that they have emotional wounds until they start working with me. And as we heal those wounds, their life shifts and changes. Some people receive new careers, better careers. They start working on the goals that they always wanted to achieve in their life. They shift and they change, and their life becomes better, and they become happier. I encourage you to give me a call or to come in and speak with me. My consultations are free. There is never an obligation, and I am so not a pushy person. So if you really are looking to change your life, to improve your life in any category that I mentioned or in any other category, I encourage you to give me a call, come chat with me, see what me and my practice can do for you. In addition to what I've said to you already, people are receiving physical healings as well. So people have been suffering from situations and pains, lumbar spine issues, neck problems, migraine headaches, whatever it might be, are receiving great alleviation from those pains, and at times total healings as well. I also happen to be what they call an intuit and a medium. So oftentimes when people work with me, I will see things for them, spirit guides as an example, that I can help them heal as well. Someone that perhaps has transitioned on, that has a message for them. So many areas of healing take place at Aspiring Wellness Solutions. I am a healer. I am a counselor. I'm a nutrition educator. So if you're simply looking to learn about healthy nutrition, what is that? You can Google so much today. However, what really is the truth? So what is healthy nutrition? What do I need to do to start eating healthier and better? How much should I eat? And that all really depends on you and your lifestyle. Give me a call. You'll be glad you did. Thank you so much for being here. It is my privilege to help you help yourself, to re-script your life, and to help you rise above the problems you're having, and to have the best life possible. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be alive. Thanks for being with us.